Greetings, fellow romantics, and welcome to another episode of Romcoms Revisited. So my friend and I have been doing a Harry Potter marathon with a 1 week break between each movie, so it's more of a crawl-a-thon really.
By all means, move at a glacial pace. You know how that thrills me.
It's been fun revisiting the movies and noticing just how adorably terrible at acting they were as kids. It's really cute. The story keeps getting better with each movie, but I'll be honest, the first two movies will always have a special spot in my heart. I love the soft yellow coloring and the warm vibes Hogwarts radiate, especially in Christmas time. It looks and feels so cozy and safe, like a real home. But this rewatch has also made me incredibly emotional. It hits you really hard to see these legendary actors that breathed so much life into this wonderful series no longer with us. And so I thought, why not rewind time and look back at one of the most iconic Christmas movies, starring the late and beloved Alan Rickman, Love Actually. The movie follows a non-linear storytelling of 9 plot lines, so for the sake of coherency, I'm going to cover each story individually, ranking them as I go from
This is shit, isn't it?
to
I love you.
Now without further ado, let's hop right into it. At number 9, we have this bottom of the barrel story that we really didn't need. An incel guy trying to find true love by pretty much harassing women,
Morning, my future wife. Finger.
and then blaming them for not finding him desirable.
English girl. They're stuck up, you see.
So his genius idea is to go to America and find a cool, chill girl that will tolerate his ass. His friend gives him a generous wake-up call.
Colin, you're a lonely, ugly arsehole, and you must accept it.
You tell him, King. But the incel doesn't listen. He doubles down and buys a ticket to Wisconsin. Should have bought a ticket to hell instead. The minute he lands there, he goes to a bar and meets a girl who's immediately into him because he's so English. Her other two friends join them and they invite him back to their place, alluding that a fourth girl will be there too. His story ends with him bringing the fourth girl back with him to America, and her sister as well for his friend. Why is this a plot in this movie? Why was it even suggested in the writing room? Why does this movie hate me? This man is just a waste of air and time, and we have a limited supply of both, so let's move on. At number 8, we have the creepy friend story. I can't overstate how much I hate this storyline. Every time I watch it, I get goosebumps, and not the good kind. It all starts at Juliet and Peter's wedding. Mark, who's Peter's best friend, is cheering for them and even planned a surprise for them. As the couple dance together, he films them with his camera and is soon approached by Sarah, who gets her own story later on. She asks him how long he's been in love with Peter, and he's mortified by the question. But honestly, it's a very valid one, because with the way he's acting, anyone would think he's enamored with his best friend. Besides, it would have made a better plot, but maybe that's just the Fujoshi in me. During a call with his bestie, Peter tells him that Juliet wants to talk to him, but before he could refuse, she's already on the line. She asks him for the footage he filmed on her wedding day, because the ones she got from the official videographer were all bluey. The whole exchange is pretty cold, even Juliet feels weirded out. Later, she comes by his place asking for the wedding tape, and he tries to lie his way out of it so she can leave, but she finds it pretty easily and they start watching it. Every shot is just a close-up of her pretty face, and it doesn't take her long to realize his true feelings towards her. She's confused by this revelation, telling him that he never speaks to her directly and that he doesn't even like her. And he replies that he was intentionally being cold towards her as self-preservation, and then he storms out to have a public breakdown. Julie and Peter are spending their Christmas Eve together at home watching the telly when someone rings their doorbell. It's Mark holding cue cards and a boombox playing a Christmas carol. He finally confesses his true feelings to her via the cue cards, and I know the movie makers intended for this to be cute, but it's just weird and off-putting. If my best friend went behind my back to confess to my wife like this, and then have my wife kiss him on the lips as a consolation reward, I would become the Joker. Like, that would be my villain's origin story. Why did Juliet never tell Peter about this? Why are the three of them still hanging out together? Why is Mark even there? Get a job, bro! At number 7, we have this story that I wish had a better ending. Sarah has been crushing on her company's coworker for
2 years, 7 months, 3 days, and I suppose an hour and 30 minutes.
Just 30 minutes after she joined the company. How is that even possible? I do not know. She is so down horrendous for this man that her boss is asking her to do something about it and free them all from her hard eyes. She doesn't, of course, but you know who actually does something about it? My man Carl. God, he's so pretty. I get you, Sarah. I get you now. He asks her to dance and the music switches to a slow song which sets a romantic mood between the two. They go back to her place afterwards, she does a cute celebratory dance, and they get down to business. Or they begin to, but her phone rings and she answers, telling whoever is on the phone she's not busy at the moment. Ouch. She explains then that it was her brother who called. He's mentally ill and alone in a psychiatric hospital, so she's the only one he has and she can't ignore his calls. Carl reassures her that he understands. God, he's really pretty. And they go back to getting intimate. But her brother calls again and the moment is ruined forever. They see each other again at Christmas Eve, but they don't say anything except wishing each other a Merry Christmas. Sarah breaks down after he leaves and goes to spend Christmas with her brother, and that's how it ends. This is textbook definition of a feel-bad story, because I feel nothing but bad for Sarah and Carl. If this had a different ending, it would have ranked higher, but the writers hate me, so that's that. Why can't she have this one thing in her already miserable life? Did someone make a fix-it fanfic of the storyline? Please tell me someone did. At number 6, we have this wishful fairy tale that inspired the creation of Wattpad. David, the new appointed prime minister, arrives at his residency and is introduced to his new housing staff. There, he meets Natalie, who I have no idea what she does. Everyone else gets introduced with their job title.
This is Terence. He's in charge. This is Pat. I'm the housekeeper.
But she's just Natalie. I guess being yourself counts as a job now. She embarrasses herself in front of him by swearing and calling him David instead of Sir, but Prime Minister Hugh Grant doesn't seem to mind. If anything, he thinks he might be falling in love.
That is so inconvenient.
At a stacked meeting with other important people, he cracks a joke.
But let's not forget America is the most powerful country in the world.
No, not this joke. This one.
Right, who do you have to screw around here to get a cup of tea and a chocolate biscuit?
And Natalie, like magic, appears.
Right.
When he gets back to his office, she brings him what he asked for, and he realizes that he might be into her more than he thought. The US president pays him a visit, and as soon as his eyes land on Natalie, he starts being a creep.
Goodness, it's a pretty little son of a bitch right there. Did you see those pipes?
Which is a fair and accurate portrayal of the US president, so good job, movie. David doesn't think too much about it at first, but when he catches the president making a move on Natalie, his entire demeanor changes. So during the press conference, he makes a bold statement about how he will do everything to protect this country and not let the American have their way, all while looking at Natalie. Talk about a grand declaration of love. Ooh. Everyone in Britain falls in love with his heated speech, calling him a badass and stuff, and he does a celebratory dance all over the residency, which is akin to how I look like Gem into my K-pop playlist. By this time, he realizes that his feelings are growing and are hindering his duties, so he calls his secretary and asks her to move Natalie to a different position. The correct term he used is
Redistribute. How?
and my dumbass thought he meant to cut her in pieces and distribute every piece of her to someplace. Why did I even think that? The days stretch longer now that he doesn't get to see Natalie anymore, and he's beginning to regret his decision. On Christmas Eve, he opens his box of letters and is surprised to find one from Natalie. Upon reading it, he realizes that she feels the same way, so he rushes to her place, except he doesn't really know her house number, so he goes around knocking on people's doors until he finds her home. But he's cock-blocked by her whole family who are on their way to this annual Christmas play at school, I don't know. So they talk on their way there, but they arrive too quickly.
Oh, wow. That really was just around the corner.
She drags him inside and takes him backstage so they can have some privacy, and because this is a rom-com, they get exposed in the funniest way possible. They're happy about it though, so who cares? In the epilogue, they show him coming back home from his travel and Natalie giving him a big, warm welcome, not caring about the media, or the bodyguards, or the people there at the airport. They're so cute, I can't lie. At number 5, we have my man, Colin Firth. We start off the story with his character Jamie showering his sick girlfriend with love before he leaves for Peter and Juliet's wedding. But when he comes back home, he finds his brother there. He thinks nothing of it at first until Miss I'm sick opens her big lying mouth.
Hurry up, big boy! I'm naked and I want you at least twice before Jamie gets home.
Boo, you whore.
So he escapes to his cozy cottage in France to spend Christmas there all alone. That is, until he meets his Portuguese housekeeper, Aurelia. They struggle to communicate as neither know the other's language, but you can tell there's something in the air between them. While he's working on his manuscript, she accidentally sends all his hard work flying down the lake. She takes her clothes off to dive in, and he stands there to admire the view. Oh, Colin, you perv. He jumps in too for solidarity, so now they're both drenched. When they get back to the cottage to warm up, they share some small talk that is basically flirting. He confesses that driving her was the best part of his day, and she replies in Portuguese that leaving him was the worst part of her day. They could barely understand each other, but a true lover never lets the language barrier get in the way, so you go, Jamie. It's his final day now in the cottage, and the last day he'll ever get to drive her home. She says she will miss him and kisses him goodbye. Which is, yeah, sad, but can we talk about how his car's headlights have their own windshields? That's a thing? Since when? And why did we stop producing them? We see Jamie back in London trying to learn Portuguese at this language center, and I just find it cute that in every romantic universe, Colin Firth is always down bad for his women. Ladies, if he wanted to, he would. He goes back to his family's home at Christmas bearing presents, but the minute he steps inside, he realizes he gotta go get his woman. By the magic of Christmas, he finds an available ticket to France and heads to her house, ready to propose, but she's not home, so his dad and her sister take him down the street to where Aurelia is. Naturally, the entire community is nosy AF, so they follow him to witness his big love gesture. He confesses in very broken Portuguese his feelings, asks for her hand in marriage, and of course, she says yes. As lovely as this story is, jumping straight into marriage after your old partner cheated on you and you only got to know this new person for a month is pretty reckless. I mean, yeah, they're cute or whatever, but don't do this in real life, kids. Take your time to settle in with the person. Unless it's Colin Firth in a romance movie, you can jump and sink and drown and he will be there for you.
Did I mention that I love you?
At number 4, we have this oddly sweet story of two people finding love in a hopeless place, as Rihanna foretold. Two stand-ins doing awkward intimate scenes strike up a convo to pass the time, but it turns out they're actually enjoying each other's company, and the more they talk, the more drawn to each other they are. It's quite hilarious how they're performing all these compromising positions that could inspire Sabrina Carpenter's next Juno position, but they're also really timid and giggly and respectful of each other's boundaries. When they finish shooting, they finally muster up the courage to take it to the next step.
All I want for Christmas is you.
And they lived happily ever after. I honestly don't know what to call this trope. Meet cute with a twist? Hang with no bang? Either way, this is undoubtedly the most romantic story of the movie. At number 3, we have this platonic friendship story between a jerk musician and his long-standing manager. Billy is a rock and roll legend, but hasn't been active in years, so when he releases a Christmas cover of Love Is All Around, he goes promoting it by basically being a TV show nightmare. He's got a foul mouth, a blasé attitude, and 0 Fs in the world. All while his manager Joe is losing his mind. But that attitude seems to really entertain the public because his song ends up being number 1. Elton John calls him up to congratulate him and invites him over to his Christmas party. Joe seems genuinely happy for Billy, but can't mask his disappointment. Thankfully, that feeling doesn't last long because Billy comes ringing on Joe's door. Joe asks him why he's here, and Billy tells him he had an epiphany that Christmas should be spent with the people we love, and Joe is the love of his life. Joe jokes about how going to an Elton party made him gay, but it doesn't take him much to break down in tears, and the two share a very painfully awkward but sincere hug. Now, isn't that so heartwarming? God, I miss my best friend. I wish you were here with me right now. At number 2, we have a heartbreaking tale of betrayal and cheating that is so deliciously angsty. You might be wondering why it's high up, considering it's not feel good, but the acting really pulled me in and elevated this plot into a legendary status. Now every time I think of Love Actually, this story is the first one that pops into my head. Alan Rickman's character Harry is the managing director of this design agency, and his secretary Mia has a thing for him. When he asks her to organize things for the Christmas party, she not so subtly spreads her legs as she talks to him, and I can't tell if he's mildly interested or grossly perturbed. Either way, the woman is crazy because Harry is married to Karen and they have 2 children. Even worse, during the company party, he dances with Mia in front of his wife. I don't know about you, but I would never do that to my wife. That's right, you heard me, Jenny. I would never betray you, baby. On his way to do some Christmas shopping with Karen, Mia asks him to buy something for her, and in exchange, she'll give him everything that involves her. Harry unfortunately falls into temptation, so when Karen leaves him for 10 minutes to do some quick shopping, he ends up buying Mia a necklace. But not without suffering through the hands of the salesman, Mr. Bean, in this hilarious exchange that you definitely should watch for yourself. When they get home, Karen senses something in Harry's jacket, and that's when she sees the necklace. Poor Karen thinks it's for her, so when it's time to open the presents, she excitedly rips through the wrapped present, only to realize she didn't get the necklace. Instead, she got a CD of her favorite artist, She asks Harry to dress the kids for the play as she excuses herself to go have a little cry, and I cried with her too. My heart was on the floor. Emma Thompson's acting in this scene broke me. It is so raw and visceral, especially when she quickly gathers herself to show that everything's fine in front of the kids. Acting masterclass. They get to school, and Karen almost breaks down seeing her brother David there. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention their brother and sister. The couple sits through the play, and they both look so proud of their kids. When the play ends, Karen finally tells him about the necklace and asks him if he were in her place, would he leave his family or stay knowing it won't be the same anymore? Harry regrets what he did, calling himself a selfish fool, and Karen replies that he made a fool out of her too. I am in so much pain for her. She again acts strong for her kids and showers them with praise for their lovely performance, but I'm not the same. This story physically hurts, like I can't go on with my life now. A simple mistake could lead to such a big strain in a relationship and carve a big hole in my heart in the coldest days of the year. But that's okay, because the next story will heal me. At number 1, we have my personal favorite storyline of the newly widowed stepfather and his son. I'm always a sucker for a good parent-child story, especially if it's a step-parent. Guaranteed to make my heart feel like melted butter. And this one is no different. Daniel mourns the loss of his wife and is conflicted on how to reach out to his stepson Sam, who hasn't left his room since the funeral. He consults Karen on what to do, and she gives him the best advice.
No one's ever gonna shag you if you cry all the time.
Helpful.
He finally gets him out of the house, and when he asks him if anything's wrong, Sam confesses that he's in love. Daniel's relieved it's nothing serious, and Sam takes offense to that.
Worse than the total agony of being in love.
Boy, you have never stuttered your way through a presentation in front of a whole auditorium and completely froze when the professor started asking questions, and you felt so humiliated that you contemplated dropping out of uni. Now that is true agony. Daniel takes Sam's crush situation seriously and starts interrogating him on who it is and what can they do.
Good. And what does he feel about you?
Later that day, Sam breaks the news that his crush is moving back to America on Christmas Eve.
That's the end of my life as I know it.
That is bad news.
I love how dramatic he is, and I love how much Daniel indulges him. It's so cute. Daniel puts on Titanic to make Sam feel better, and the cuteness is killing me. I love their bond. I love their relationship. I would literally die for them. The next day, Sam tells Daniel that he found a way to get his girl. His dad asks him what it is, and Sam says he'll learn how to drum to get his crush's attention. So day and night, Sam practices his drumming skills, shattering Daniel's eardrums with every wake, until the day of the Christmas play at school, where he crushes it on the drums as the love of his life sings to the audience. As soon as the performance is done, they follow Joanna to the airport. Oh yeah, his crush's name is Joanna, I forgot to mention that. Anyway, they follow Joanna to the airport to try and catch up with her. Security doesn't let them in, of course, so Sam sneaks in past every possible officer to find her. Joanna sees him and calls him by name, and Sam is so happy that she actually knows his name. How cute, you guys. He goes back to Daniel and is shocked that Joanna followed him back. She kisses his cheek before she goes, and our little boy could not be happier as he runs to his dad's arms to celebrate. I don't know what to say besides, this could have been a full-length feature film, and I would gobble every second of it. Suffice to say, we need more of these wholesome storylines. So that was Love Actually, a collection of stories that covers all types of love you can have in your life. A romance that will sweep you off your feet, a friendship that you took for granted for years, a love you thought could never be broken, until it did. Whatever story you were looking for, you'll find it here. I didn't appreciate this movie much when I first watched it, but now I understand why it's a quintessential Christmas watch. That's all I have for today. Thank you for watching. Bye bye bye.